let me tell you that there's no prerequisite for this. You can absolutely learn this from scratch. You don't need to have any prior coding experience or any kind of experience. So this is a very, I mean, this is one of the most easiest tool to learn. Not even, I mean, even for some of the tools, some basic HTML or JavaScript is required, but there's no scripting or no coding experience is required. So that is one of the key aspects and one of the reasons like why this tool is in such demand. Before we move forward, I can see, let me check the attendees. Okay, Ravi, that's fine. That's completely fine. You can, if you have any kind of questions, you can type in the chat and I'll be addressing those questions. So it seems Ravi is traveling. Buji Babu and Sandeep, like I just want to understand the I mean the experience from your end. So like how many of you are working currently in IT and how many of you are not? Can you just raise your hand or can you just let me know? And if you could unmute yourself.
I am Buji Babu. So,
Yeah, Buji Babu, go on.
Yeah, actually, basically, I'm a mechanical engineer. I'm having 25 years of.
Sorry to interrupt. Sorry. Is anyone having trouble hearing Buji Babu or is it just me? Can you guys hear him clearly? I would request you, Buji Babu, can you please maybe increase your volume or can you be a bit louder, please? Your voice is quite low. If you are plugged in a earphone, can you please check that, please?
Yeah, now it is okay?
It's manageable. Okay please go on.
Okay.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, now actually I'm basically a mechanical engineer having 25 years of experience in various industries, mechanical engineering and aerospace. Right now I'm working in the aerospace industry in Hyderabad. So last around 4 years I'm developing this power apps for my organization. That is purely aerospace industry. So, hello, am I audible?
Yeah, I'm trying to hear you. I mean, I'm having trouble. What I understood is you're currently working in aerospace industry, if I'm correct.
Yes. I'm working in the aerospace industry.
You're saying something regarding power.
Yeah, I will disconnect and connect again. Right.
Okay, you just try that. Sandeep, can you let me know your experience level or like, are you currently working or not?
Hi sir, this is Sandeep. I'm audible?
Yeah, go on. Yeah, you are audible.
Okay. Total experience 10.2 years in IT industries. I'm graduate of BTech, developing a ASP.NET C# with SQL database or PLSQL database. Right now I'm working on SharePoint 2013 or 16.
Okay, yeah, that's good to hear. So you're working on SharePoint. So I think you have some basic idea about Power Apps and you might be knowing, I mean, if you have good experience on SharePoint, you might be knowing by now that like Power Platform and SharePoint go hand in hand, mostly Power Apps. So that's a good.
Yes, sir.
And I think Ravi is traveling, so he won't be able to chip in. So that's fine, Ravi. We'll continue. Okay, so let's continue. We'll discuss brief about what is Power Apps and what is it all about, and then we'll move on to the next part. talking about the Power Apps, the Power Platform. Basically, Power Apps is one of the components of Power Platform. Power Platform is overall having four components. That's one is Power Apps, other is Power Automate, third one is Power Virtual, fourth is Power BI. So I believe some of you might have heard about at least Power BI. I mean, even if you not have heard of it, it is one of the most commonly used tool across the world for reporting purpose. So before, I mean, coming to this, before Power Apps came into picture, Power BI has been there. I mean, Power Apps was the latest addition after Power BI. So each of the components is having its own utility. I mean, Power Apps is basically used for application development. Power Automate is basically used to automate the flow process. Virtual Agent, when it comes to Virtual Agent, it's used for creating chatbots, and then Power BI is the famous. It's used for reporting purpose. So if I make it in more generic terms, Power Apps is the application development component of Power Platform. Okay. We'll be focusing on that in our, I mean, that's the part we're focusing in our course. So I mean, we'll be prepping you for creating an application end to end. Apart from Power Apps, we'll be also covering some aspect of Power Automate. Like we cover some aspect of Power Automate also in our course. The reason for that is that there are certain I mean, there are certain things which has to be done as part of application development. That means application development is fine, but if you want to send out some notifications or if you want to automate some processes, Power Apps can, I mean, we cannot do it in Power Apps. Power Apps is strictly for application development. Like you might have used any application, so you can see what features out there. We can use those using Power Apps. But if there are certain processes which has to be automated, the process being like, suppose I'll give you two examples for your understanding. First is just as soon as you submit a form, you'll suppose you have created an application and there's a form out there for capturing some data. Now, as soon as you enter the form, like you enter details in that form and it gets submitted, you want someone to get notified. You want to be informed that okay, the request has been submitted. So we cannot achieve that using Power Apps, and this is one of the most common scenarios across all the applications which is being developed across the world, like sending notifications. So for that reason, to make the process end to end, we are covering this Power Automate part also. I'll give you another example. If you have, as far as I know, you both are working in your respective organizations. So when you are applying for a leave, so that leave or any kind of reimbursement you are applying for a reimbursement, that goes through an approval process, right? It's very rare that your request will be approved in the first instance. Your request for reimbursement or your request for leave, it goes through a approval process, maybe from your manager, maybe from your director, maybe from your HR. So we cannot achieve that approval process and this entire life cycle using Power Apps. That's only 70 to 80%, I would say. I mean, that's definitely we use Power Apps. I mean, we use an application for it, but like 20% of that part is Power Automate as well. And that's why we cover those aspects where you need help help in automating the processes. We include those also as part of our course. I mean, let's talk about this reimbursement example, which you guys are you might be doing it in your organization, or at least the leave system, the leave management system. So generally, how do we apply leave? We have our own portal for our respective companies, and then we set the dates and the reasons and all the type of leave, whether it's casual leave or it's a sick leave or it's earned leave, whatever it is, you select that and then you submit it. And in the back end, it goes through an approval process. So that is a combination of both application development as well as a process life cycle. So that's what we do as part of application development. I mean, that's what we do as part of our course. So that just to summarize, that we are also covering some aspects of Power Automate in our application, and that's very basic, so that you are able to implement it and you are able to understand it, but it's necessary. So coming back to our Power Platforms, like I said, it's having 4 components. Out of that, we are focusing on Power Apps, which is the application development component, and which is the if I say it's like 30 to 40% of Power Platform, because very rarely someone uses a chatbot inside their applications, and Power BI is an entire topic, different topic altogether. So that's a different thing. Now, the next question is like, what's the reason behind this Power Apps, and why there's such craze among business users and customers on using this app? So let me give you a very small example. I think there's a chat. Can we get this recorded video? And who's that? Let me
Sir,
just Sandeep, yeah, sorry. Let me check if I can record this session for you.
Okay, sir.
Let me check. Do I have a recording rights? Okay, I think I don't have recording permissions. That would be the organizer. So if you hear me, can you please turn on recording? I think he's that's fine, Sandeep. We have recorded. If we have some pre-recorded videos, so we'll send out to you. And if in case you're not able to find it, I'll record a separation for you and send it to you. Okay.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Okay, I think Subbo replied, so I think we are good. Okay, I'll continue in that case. So I was saying, like, why is the question is, why is there such a craze, or why business users are switching towards Power Apps? So I think Sandeep is here, and as far as I heard him, he was working on ASP.NET, and currently he's working on SharePoint. Now let's talk about, why I'm bringing that example is, any programming language, be it can be C#, or it can be Java or anything. It takes a lot of infrastructure basically, and it takes a lot of time to deploy an app, basically, to create an app, deploy an app, test it, and then a lot of processes are involved, as far as from the developer perspective, as well as setting up the infrastructure, and some costs are also involved. So even if you want to roll out basic app, it takes quite a time to roll out the basic app with some of the features. Now cut to Power Apps. Power Apps, we have 2 types of application in Power Apps, which we'll get to that later. But you can even roll out the app within a week with all the features, and you can easily deploy it. And another thing is, since most of you are working in organizations, so you might be using Teams or Outlook. If your organization has already adapted to Microsoft, most of the organizations are still using Gmail as their mailing tool. But if you are already using Microsoft as part of your organization, if you're using Teams, or if you're using OneDrive and Outlook Mail, so as part of that, Power Apps is already a part of the package. Basically, the company has procured license for you so that you can use this different day-to-day basis tools, Outlook, OneDrive, and Teams. So the company has already procured a license called Office 365 E5 license for you. Now, as part of that license, you already have access to Power Apps. So you are good to go as of now. You're good to go to create a very basic app, as far as you're not using any premium connectors or premium data source. If I say, like, there are certain classifications where some data sources are premium, some are free. So as far as you are using free data sources, you are very much okay to go and create application without any cost. At this point, when I say at this point, when I'm speaking at this point, you can go ahead and check it. You already have access to that. So we don't have to we don't have to break our heads and get the infrastructure, and we do the licenses and all, and Visual Studio and all. When it comes to .NET, we need to get a licenses for Visual Studio and all. So that's one thing. Another thing, the deployment is quite easy. It doesn't take too much of time. The deployment is like we just have to publish it and we can deploy it on a go. So that's another thing. And the third thing is cost involved. So like I said, the cost involved is quite minimal as compared to what other technologies offer. The cost involved is quite minimal. I mean, when you do a cost estimate, the cost difference is quite huge. So that is the reason any business user or I mean your client or whatever, they are trying to switch to this Power Apps, because even they don't have to break their heads to get you the licenses and get you the the entire configuration setup or infrastructure. It's already there on the cloud. You can just go ahead and you can just start creating an app from very base. I mean from the word go. One more thing is like I said, the rollout time. So if you have, like for me, if I'll speak from my terms, I can roll out an app within a week, or I can even roll out an app with very basic features within 3 days or 2 days. That's how powerful this is. I mean, I don't have to wait for any kind of configuration setup or anything like that. I can just quickly go ahead and deploy. Create an app with whatever requirements you have or whatever features you want, and my application is good to go. So that's one of the, I think someone has, what is the cost of E5 per year? I can't tell you the exact cost, but I mean, what I can tell you is that the organization is already paying it in Indian rupees. I guess it's somewhere around 8,000. I'm not sure about that, but the point what I'm trying to say here is that is being paid by your organization if you're already using. If you're already having access to Teams and Outlook and OneDrive. If you have already access to that, that means you're part of Office 365 E5 license that comes as part of your organization, and that is being paid yearly for all your users. So I can put down the Power Apps URL in the chat, and you can just go and check it. You'll be able to create a very basic app out there. Okay, moving on. So that is one, like I was saying, that is one of the reasons this Power Apps is in that much demand. Another thing is the learning curve. One of the most important thing. You will very rarely hear like your client or your whatever client you're working, they'll be coding it. They don't generally code it. The coding perspective, the coding responsibility falls on you whenever you are working for a client. But since this is very much easy to learn, like I said in the beginning. Okay, Sandeep has posted.
E5 flashing.
Yeah, I think site is having the pricing, so you can go ahead and have a look. Okay, as I was saying, the learning curve. So very rarely we will see that anyone from the business end is interested in coding. Because that's a lot of headache for them. The learning curve is quite high. You need to have a knowledge of a lot of things before you can start working on that. But that is not the case with Power Apps. That is the beauty of Power Apps, that there is no learning curve out there, and that's why it's called low code or no code technology. I'll tell you why there's a low code and / no code, and then there is a low. When we are going for a low code and when we are going for a no code, but it's very minimal when we compare it to other technologies. We don't have to write like thousands lines of code out there. It's very minimal, and the language, the programming language for this Power Apps is called FX language. So that language is very user friendly. It's mostly what comes into your head. When I say that, like we think a logic that if this, then that, then if this, then that. So similarly, we write the same. We write in the same manner in Power Apps also. So the learning curve is quite easy. You don't have to wait for learning the entire thing to create an app. Very basic learning, very basic knowledge is also enough, and you can start building an app. Of course, if you want to build an advanced app, then you need to have end-to-end knowledge. But I'm talking from business user perspective who are not, not much into coding. They just go ahead and they start learning, and they are, good to go from very basic requirement or very basic app. So learning curve is one of the most important reasons this Power Apps is in high demand. One last feature I'll tell you, again, Sandeep, who is working in ASP.NET, so he might be able to relate. See, what happens is whenever you use an application, there is a separate most of the time what it happens is now is in the recent 2 or 3 years, developers have changed their coding style, and they are they are designing the application in such a way that the application works both on the phone, mobile device, as well as the desktop device. They are designing it in such a way that same application works in desktop version as well as mobile version. So Power Apps also give you that feature. Instead of designing separate applications for mobile and separate applications for desktop, we can do the same thing in our application. So we don't have to do the rework, we don't have to design it separately. Previously, if you remember, in generic I'm talking about, you might be hearing that this application's desktop version is not released, or this is not available in Play Store or iStore because the mobile version is still not released, because the developer used to work in the backend for rolling out the mobile app. And that sometimes that still happens, like you might see for some of the applications the mobile app is not available. That's not the case in case of Power Apps. With the same app, you can make it responsive, you can add the features accordingly, and it will work both in your desktop version as well as mobile version. Now coming to this types of Power Apps. So since you don't have much knowledge on it, I won't dig into this much. Okay, but I'm just bringing this slide for that low code, no code part. Like you have already seen, or you might have seen somewhere, low code technology, no code technology. Now what is that? So low code is this part. You see the Canvas app, that is the low code part, and model driven app, that is the no code part. If I have to roll out a model driven app, guys, I can do it in suppose I want to roll out a very basic app, I can do it in 2 minutes. And 2 minutes is like too much, I'm saying. It won't even take 2 minutes, because model driven app is all about configuration. You have to assemble this and that. Like suppose you have 4 components, you just need to assemble those 4 components in one place, and you're good to go, and your application is up and running, and you'll be having your own URL for your application. So that is the no code part, the model driven app. This is the type of Power Apps, guys, I'm talking about. Okay, we have 3 types of the Power Apps, but mostly generally these 2 types are being used: model driven app and Canvas app. So model driven app is all about configuration. Okay, very it's not having any kind of coding involved. You just have to assemble it. Drag and drop features, all those things are there. Cut to Canvas app. Yes, in Canvas app you have to write you need to write coding. Designing is involved in that as well, but until you write the code for that, it won't work. So that low code part is Canvas app, and the no code part, that is the model driven app. Now the next thing is which should come to your mind is that if model driven app is no code, so let's stick to that. What is why would anyone go with Canvas app, right? If something sounds easier, let's go with it. What is the reason for going with Canvas app and writing even though it's a very low, less lines of code, or it's a low code, why would we take a headache of writing any code? Let's stick to model driven app. So that's where the differentiation falls. Like you should understand when to use which kind of app. And why I'm bringing this up is just wanted to tell you that 90% of the time you'll be using Canvas app, or maybe more than that. In most of the organization, most of the times Canvas app is being preferred compared to any other the apps which you're seeing on the screen. If I say out of 100, then it's like 5% for, not even 5%, 2 to 3% for totals, 5 to 10% for model driven app, and approx 90% Canvas apps. So that then another question comes to our mind, like why we are preferring Canvas app, even though model driven app is like no coding and quick to assemble. I just said like I can roll out in 2 minutes also. So why I'm taking the headache of using Canvas app? Now that's where the differentiation falls. See, Canvas app gives you a lot of freedom basically. When you use Canvas app, it gives you a lot of freedom from designing perspective. If you want your app to look like this, like I want this color to be red, or I want the header to look blue, or I want to look my table as this color and that color, all those designing freedom the Canvas app gives you. Those freedoms we don't have in model driven app. Model driven app is a predefined, is having its own predefined design given by Power Platform. We just, like I said, it's just involved like a drag and drop part or configuration part. We cannot change the coloring, or we cannot design it basically. But from the user experience perspective, Canvas app gives a lot of freedom. If you want something to be placed at top right, you can do that. If you want something to be placed at center, you can do that. So it's having basically, you have used Paint, right? You all have used Paint once in your life, in your school or something. So that's what Canvas app is. It's a canvas, it's a blank page. You can design it accordingly, whatever you want. This is from the UI perspective I'm talking about. Coming to the features also, when it comes to feature, we have a lot of, we can design a lot of features, custom features basically from Canvas apps. But model-driven app is having some restrictions to that. Some of the things are very difficult to achieve in model-driven app. So, again, that's another reason Canvas app is preferred. I'll give you one more important reason. Applications, basically, let's talk very basic things. So, applications, and every application will be dumping its data or will be connected to a data source, right? Every application in the world. You can open your phone and you can take any app. All the app is sending data to somewhere, or some place. So that's what we call a data source. Now, when it comes to Canvas app, it can interact with more than 600, and I'm just talking about a six figure. It's more than that. Okay, it can interact with more than 600 plus data sources. You can just name it. It can be Oracle, it can be SQL, it can be Salesforce, it can be Pega, it can be SharePoint, it can be OneDrive, it can be Excel, anything. That's with the app. So you can connect it to any data source, and then you can start creating your app. But when it comes to model-driven app, it's just giving one option. That's called Dataverse. So when it comes to model-driven app, you can just connect with one data source. So again, that's a disadvantage. Suppose your data is located in Salesforce. Suppose your data is located in SQL Server, and then you want to create an application using SQL Server as a backend. We cannot achieve that using model-driven apps. It's not possible. Then we have to prefer for Canvas app. We have to go for Canvas apps. So this differentiation you have to keep in mind basically. Just to summarize it, if you are working on a business-heavy data, like lakhs and lakhs of record, if you're working on a business-intensive data, you have to go for the model-driven app. Other than that, always prefer Canvas app because it will give you endless freedom to design or to create features whatever you want. And then comes the small part. There's portals as well. So portals are basically mostly that's also configuration part. You won't have to do any kind of much coding out there. But portals are generally used when you want to create a website kind of experience for external users mostly. Okay, most of the Power Apps applications which you build are for the organization, within the organization internally. But if you want to create the application for like a public domain kind of thing where anyone can just log in and use it, in that case we prefer portals. So that's a very rare scenario within the organization because their data is quite sensitive. So they want to keep it within the organization. So that's why portals are very less used compared to other two apps. Any questions till now? Okay. You can shoot your questions in the chat if you have any. So I've already discussed the benefits of Canvas app. I think, okay, Sandeep is Okay, moving on. This, this we'll be covering it. This topic, the different flavors of Canvas apps we can discuss when we are in session. Even if I discuss this now, you won't be able to, relate it too much. but just what you're seeing on the screen right now is the different ways we can create an app. Okay, just understand the difference. Even though the data source is same, there are different ways you can create the same application, the same Canvas app. It can be from the studio, it can be from the SharePoint site, okay, it can be from Dataverse, or it can be from your teams. So there are different ways there to create the same app with the same functionality. Okay. Now, in talking, let me give you a look and feel. How does it look basically? This is the site I was talking about. If you have some time, you can go and check this. You might be asked to start a free trial. You can click. Just explore it and play. There's a design studio that I link here. So I'll show you how does the app look in Power Apps. I'm just opening one of the apps and I'll just show you that. This is the design. This is a Power Apps studio. We don't call it studio. This is a studio. This is the Power Apps site from where you have multiple options out there. Let me reload this. In the meanwhile, this loading, let me show you the project. So as part of our course, we will be covering one project as well, and that will be a live project. That means we'll be doing the changes, everything inside in the session itself, instead of you going back and doing it. So we'll be completing in 3 to 4 days. So whatever topics and whatever things we are covering in the classes or in the sessions, after learning all those topics, we'll be doing a live project, and I have the user stories for that project. User story basically means the features. We have defined the features for that project. So this will be like end-to-end discussion from mine and your end, and you have to take the requirement from me, and you have to implement it accordingly. The application which we will be creating is called an idea app, where you'll have to create a different screens out there with different functionalities which I have already defined in the user stories. So you'll get this as part of the project, and you have to try to complete it within the defined time. Another thing is that it has been my experience in the past that after the courses are done, then the real problem starts. What I mean by that is sometimes you're not doing well, or like right now I think one of the guys is traveling. I think Ravi was traveling. So you might be busy and you're just connecting from your phone, or you're not able to practice. So basically what I mean is you're not able to catch up with the ongoing sessions. Once you start practicing, then you start seeing the issues out there, and after that doubt will come, and then you're getting stuck at the entire course. But even after completion of those 40 hours, we will be staying in touch. So you can schedule a session, you can reach out to the admin, and we'll have a weekly session out there. And you can connect with me, and you can clear all your doubts, whether it's regarding Power Apps or it's regarding environment setup or anything. So when you're practicing, basically it's bound to happen. Whenever you start practicing, you will be getting some kind of issues, some kind of errors, and you will be stuck. So to support that part, we'll be available for the next another 1 month, where you can connect with me if you want, if you are having any kind of issues. So we are providing that support as well, just to let you know. And like I said, this is a 40 hours planned session. It might get extended 1 or 2 hours, but as of now, this is a 40 hours planned session. Okay, coming to this is the app I'm talking about. Like this, you have to create an app. Where you let me show you. You'll have to create some form like this. So let me enter Sandeep's name. Different features which I have already noted down in the user stories. So some of the features will be something like this. Okay. Let me close this. Okay, I think it's having some issues with the loading. Let me open it in a separate tab. That reminds me. Yes, there's one more thing regarding Power Platform. That's the availability. So what happens mostly in like AWS, there's something called Amazon Web Service, and there's Azure and a lot of other cloud technologies. Sometimes it will go down. Okay, it will. When I go down means it's not available, it's not reachable. You won't be able to connect to it. So sometimes some of the data centers are down or some of the servers are down. In that case, your application will not be accessible by the business users. That is another advantage when it comes to Power Apps. Your application is going to be down. It's having a availability of 99%. I mean, more than 99%, 99.99 and something. So your application will be up all the times, even though one of the data centers is not working in the backend. When I'm talking about Microsoft data centers, this is the Microsoft tool. Power Platform is a Microsoft tool. It's having quite high availability. Okay, let's get back to our app. I'm just giving you a tour, basically a heads up what kind of app you are going to build. So this is one of the apps which created in our previous batch. These are different tabs out there. Okay, this is a draggable screen. You see here. I can drag it to the right. Then we have view screen out there. Okay, I can go back. And this you are definitely going to do, the user management screen. This is one of the basic features in all the application. You use Amazon or Flipkart, you might see in right, there's a profile option at the top right. It's the same like that. So this is the kind of app we'll be expecting from you to complete it. Okay. It's having an entire CRUD operations basically. For those who don't understand CRUD, it's like create, update, and delete, where you'll have to create a form or a feature to add the details, then edit those details and delete those details. So you'll have to look at all those features. These are the way, and see, mind you, these are very basic features I'm talking about. On top of that, you'll be having different requirements. When I say that, that means that okay, this CRUD part is fine. That this form entering details and editing the details, that's very basic. But suppose I want that the same user should not be able to fill the request again, or if I want that the current date, that means today is 17th September. So your start date should not be before than 17th, today's date. That means if you select 15th September in the form, it should not allow you to submit a form. So these are the different features we'll have to implement, and we should know how to implement it. So that will be my goal. Like that is my entire goal, to take you to that level. The thing is here, see, I don't want to give any wrong expectations out there. It's not that you just take this and you will be done. No, it's not going to be that. It has to come from both ways. It's going to be 70% my effort, 30% you have to put effort. No one can, if they are promising you or if they are guaranteeing you that just learn this and you'll be good to go. I think I don't know what they're saying, why they would say that. You will have to put some effort from your end as well. Okay, my job will be to make you as comfortable as possible, so that if some new scenarios comes in your way, you are able to tackle it. That is the end goal for this entire course. That if, because see, no one can, it's not possible anyone to, I mean, implement all the scenarios. Even I get sometimes with some new scenarios, but I have that comfort level. I have achieved that comfort level, so I am able to debug that. I'm able to troubleshoot that and then bring to the, get to the results. That will be my goal for this entire course for you guys also, if you guys join. So that is one thing out there. Okay, apart from this project part, we will be also having mock interviews for those who need it in case you are planning to switch to your companies. We have already taken the mock interviews for our previous batches. So we'll be having mock interviews for those who are looking for a job change or looking for a job, and we'll be sharing interviews questions as well from different companies. So whatever companies the previous candidates have appeared for, they have appeared for Wipro, they have appeared for TCS, they have appeared for IBM. I think a couple of more companies they have covered. So we have all those questions out there. Now understand the difference here. You can very well go and type in the Google about the questions, top 50 Power interview questions, all that. And that is helpful. I won't say that's not helpful, but the real-time questions are a bit different from that. Okay, they do ask those questions as well, but the real-time questions are mostly scenario-based. It's not what and why, how, or it's not like that. They'll provide you a scenario and they'll ask you how to implement it. So those questions we are covering, and we are capturing all those questions from the real-time interview, whatever is happening with the candidates, and we'll be getting those questions for you as well. And in case you need it, then we'll conduct mock interviews for you as well. Apart from that, again, if you're looking for a job change or if you're looking for a switch or something, we'll be handling your resume also. So we'll review your resume and we'll update it accordingly. The last thing is the certification support. So there is a certification called PL900. It's Power Platform Fundamentals. So we'll be helping you out with questions for that as well. You don't have to pay us any money on that. The certification cost is 3,600. So that you yourself has to go and schedule it from the Microsoft site. You don't have to give that money to anyone. But yeah, we'll be sharing the questions and we'll be guiding you on how to clear that certification if you need it. Again, it's on the need basis because everyone is having their own requirement. So we cannot not all the things are same out there. So if you need that certification support, we'll be giving out to you that PL900 support. The reason for that is for those people who are looking to switch their jobs, a certification definitely will take you a long way in shortlisting your resume. It will be having no effect. Let me be very blunt. It will be having no effect once you are face to face with the interviewer. But it will definitely have a lot of advantage when the shortlisting of resume is going on. Again, it's on need basis. We have given that for I think 6 or 7 previous students. So we have given that. Not everyone need it, but if you want, we'll be helping you out with that certification also. Okay, till now any questions? Okay, I think then we are good. I have explained you what are the different things we have and what are the different things we'll be covering as part of this. How to connect with you in the next time. So Sandeep, you can connect with Subbu. He's the admin and he's the organizer for this session. So if you want to connect with me, he'll schedule a call or he'll schedule a session with me. So you can connect with me one to one if you want. Before you guys drop off, I just want to show you the course curriculum. We have designed it very carefully for one specific reason. So let me show you that, and then you can connect with. So that's what I'm saying, Bujibabu and Sandeep. If you have any doubts, if like something comes to your mind later as well, you can connect with Subbu. He'll pull me in the call and we can discuss with whatever you want. You already have the admin's number, right? In case, just let me know. If you don't have it, I'll ask him to connect with you. You don't have the admin's number? Okay. Okay.
No, sir. Can you
Yes.
No, sir.
I got your point, Sandeep and Bujibabu. I'll ask Subbu to connect with you individually. Okay. Is that fine? Okay. Yeah, I have made a note. I've already pinged him, so he'll connect with you guys today or maybe tomorrow morning. You can ask whatever doubts you have, and if you want to connect with me, I'm good to go. We can discuss. Okay, before you guys drop off, let me show you the course curriculum, and then you can have your weekends, the rest of the week, whatever it's left, the 3 hours. I hope you guys have a long weekend because I think for some of the places it's holiday tomorrow. Okay, so this is the course curriculum that we have designed, and I think Subbu has posted his number in the chat. You can note down his number. Okay, coming to the course curriculum, if I have a look at that, we have designed it very specific in way, and we have break it down to mostly what and how kind of stuff. Basically, these are all interview questions which are being asked, and we are covering those. Okay, it's very easy for me. It's very easy for me to have a topic called gallery and just give some lecture about it and pass it on. But what we have experienced is that is not what I have experienced whenever I have done any course in the past, like when I used to like 7 or 8 years back when I used to do any kind of course out there, I could see that that's not constructive. Basically, these are the questions which are asked in interviews. Like this is not the straightforward questions which will be asked with you. How to color alternate records in gallery directly. So if we learn it in that perspective, then it's more easy to catch. Basically, you should know what are you learning, what is this part all about. Okay, instead of having it in a description manner, we are covering breaking down into what and how. Okay, that's why we are covering it in. We have broken it down into this particular way. Yes, we'll. Okay, I have made a note of that. Let me share this course content. So yes, you'll be getting this course content shortly after we end this session, and you can have a look. We'll definitely share it with you. And as I was saying, we are covering some aspect of Power Automate as well. So this is the aspect I was talking about. So these things are fine. Types of flow we are covering because again you should know which type of flow you have to use. And this was the approval part I was talking about, the approval life cycle and all. One more thing, this project and certifications I already have covered, but this licenses part. So even for a developer who is working for quite some time, the licenses are quite confusing. It's very difficult to understand which kind of license should be used. But that's the reason we are covering it, because if you don't know which license you have to use, ultimately you will be costing money to your organization. As simple as that. Your application will be used by hundreds of users and thousands of users, and if you're not handing them proper licenses, imagine the amount it's going to cost your company. So understanding of licenses is very important, and the admin center features. So we will be having one session for that as well. So this content we're sharing with you after the call, and you can have a look. So this is from my end. If you have any questions, you can please shoot in the chat, or we'll end this call. Number we have already sent the email to me. I'll share the content. Yes, Shubhu, I'll share that with you. Yeah, welcome Sandeep. I will connect if I think you have the number of